April 18, 1943. The Pacific War was fought with bullets, bombs, and most importantly, secrets. For weeks, U.S. codebreakers have been reading the Imperial Japanese Navy's mail, thanks to the classified system known as MAGIC. Then, they intercepted the itinerary of the war's biggest target, Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the architect of Pearl Harbor, the man whose strategic mind was the engine of the Japanese war effort. The location, Bougainville. The time, precisely 9:45 a.m. 16p, 38 Lightnings were tasked with a mission of retribution, Operation Vengeance. Among them, First Lieutenant Rex Barber, focused on eliminating the symbol of imperial power. The plan was a surgical strike. 12 Lightnings would climb high to engage the 6-0 escorts, providing critical top cover. The remaining 4, the killer group, would plunge directly toward the single Betty bomber carrying Yamamoto as they neared Bougainville. The targets appeared, but the reality shattered the plan. Bogeys, 11 o'clock high, 6 zeros, and critically not 1 but 2 Betty bombers. Confusion reigned. Which one is Yamamoto's? The decision was instantaneous. We'll have to take them both. The formation surged forward, committing to the attack. Then, a catastrophic mechanical failure. Lieutenant Besby Holmes' external drop tanks refused to separate. He plunged away, violently trying to shake the drag. His wingman, Lieutenant Raymond Hine, followed for cover. The killer group was suddenly reduced to 2 pilots against 2 bombers and 6 escorts. Inside one of the Bettys, Chief of Staff Matom Agaki was resting. Suddenly, a 0 escort flashed past their nose, the pilot frantically shaking his wings and pointing. They had been spotted. The pilot slammed the control column, sending the massive bomber into a desperate, plunging evasive maneuver. The officers aboard clung on for their lives. Ugaki, confused, tried to spot the Admiral's aircraft amidst the chaos. Outside, the 0 escort went into action. 3 Zeros immediately broke formation to intercept the 2 lone P-38s. Lieutenant Lamphere, realizing the desperate situation, broke off from the killer group to engage the fighters head-on. Lamphere opened fire, forcing the Zeros into a collision course. Low-caliber fire hammered his wings like hail, but he held the trigger, buying the crucial seconds Barber needed to continue the lone charge. Barber left the melee behind. The 2 Japanese bombers separated. He picked one at random and chased. He was not alone. A 0 from Lamphere's fight broke free and locked onto Barber 6. Tracer zipped past his canopy. Barber resisted the instinct to evade. He aimed his sights, squared the massive twin-engine bomber in his crosshairs, and pulled the trigger. A hail of $0.50 caliber rounds and explosive $20 text M dollar cannon shells tore into the enemy aircraft. Oil poured from a cowling. Barber held the fire, even as he felt the impact of rounds from the 0 hitting his own tail section. The relentless attack paid off. Barber continued the pursuit to treetop height, dismantling the bomber piece by piece. Finally, the Betty snapped upward, rolled out of control, and plunged into the jungle, erupting into a massive fireball. It's down. What's next? Barber broke off for the second target, but 3 fresh Zeros descended, forcing him into a desperate, weaving survival fight just feet above the jungle canopy. At the critical moment, Barber spotted the 2 P-38s of Holmes and Hine racing toward him. His prayers were answered. The 2 Lightnings charged, their guns blazing, but the fire was heading directly for Barber. Time slowed. He held his plane steady as friendly and enemy tracers enveloped his machine. It was a chaotic, calculated gamble. The lightnings roared overhead, forcing the Zeros to scatter. The sky fell to an abrupt, shocking calm. The risky maneuver had worked. Holmes and Hine immediately turned, chasing the second Betty, which was desperately skimming the ocean surface. They poured ammunition into the tough bomber. With the bomber wounded, Barber dove in for the final volley. His rounds found the fuel tank, detonating the vapor. The bomber was engulfed in fire and plunged into the sea. Barber flew straight through the fireball, emerging unscathed. The fight was over, but not without cost. Lieutenant Hines P-38 was heavily damaged and peeled away. Barber and Holmes took down the final Zeros. As the jubilant American squadron returned, a badly injured Mato Magaki emerged from the sea. He was one of only 3 men from the 2 bombers to survive the crash. Forensic analysis confirmed the mission's success. Admiral Yamamoto had been in the first bomber, the one Rex Barber shot down. His death was a severe emotional blow to Japan. He was granted a full state funeral with the highest honors. Mato Magaki, the survivor, was heartbroken. He never forgave himself, writing later about the paralyzing horror of waiting for the Admiral's plane to fall. On August 15, 1945, following the Emperor's surrender, Agaki took his final, indignant action. Dressed in his officer's uniform, carrying the ceremonial sword gifted by Yamamoto, he led the last known kamikaze attack of the war. A final, futile sacrifice. Operation Vengeance was a spectacular success, but tragedy shadowed the victory. Lieutenant Raymond Hine never made it back. His damaged P-38 lost to the vast Pacific. Every member of the mission received the Navy Cross. Rex Barber, the pilot who delivered the fatal rounds, survived the war. But the mission remained one of the most audacious and consequential assassination strikes in military history, made possible by the quiet heroes of code-breaking. What military figure do you think had the greatest impact on World War II? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most pivotal moments.